the similarities between an audience of one, a judge, an audience of 6 or 12, a jury, or 3,500 people coming to see you? Are there any similarities that you see in those audiences?
Similarities in the
Either
audience.
in yourself or in the audience?
Yeah, in the audience themselves, there are no similarities. I mean, those are very different audiences.
You're not being judged?
Yeah, but they're very different audiences. If you're standing in front of a judge, a jury, or an audience, you have to have confidence. Never let them see you sweat. And that's really across the board there. The only thing that is similar. The audience, I've said, there's different motivations. It's a different perspective. The performance, though, has to be the same in terms of selling yourself and being confident in what you're selling and believing in what you're saying. The audience does not want to see you weak or quiver and that's the same whether it's a judge or a jury or an audience that just paid however much they paid for a ticket to see you sing songs.
Is there one case, like I have 3 cases for each decade I've been an attorney that just always pop up in my brain. Are there any cases like that for you where you're just glad you're in them, or they made a huge impression on you that you're involved in?
Well, yeah, actually, most of those were in my family law and dependency days with divorce and, moms trying to sell their babies for crack and stuff like that.
What does that mean?
It means exactly what it means. Mom's.
What was your role?
I was the attorney for grandma trying to adopt the baby who was trying to be sold for crack.
The reason you're in front of me today, one of the reasons, is you are the frontman or the lead singer and guitar player for the Surrogate Band, which is, describe what the Surrogate Band is.
The Surrogate Band is a group of musicians. We for the last, it's been 12 years now, have been playing specifically Pink Floyd tribute shows.
What does that mean?
We put on full Pink Floyd tribute experiences.
What does that mean?
We will play albums from start to finish. Our first project that we did was The Wall. We did The Wall as our first project. It was only going to be that one project, and that was it. It wasn't supposed to be.
Let's put that up for our viewers.
Oh yeah, Shazam. We're here for such a very finite amount of years.
Yeah, but is that the reason why you're so
Well,
casual?
yeah, there's so much to do. There's so much to do and so much to experience, so many things out there. And it never becomes more stark than I think all of the probate and estate planning kind of work I did, which is always older people, senior citizens that are hospice, about to die. I had a lot of those clients that would tell you.
The bed is,
sitting right next to the bed, doing last changes to the will, last changes to different documents right there.
Did you ask?
What?
Was it worth it? Any regrets?
Oh yeah. I would. Those are the best people to have conversations with, because their perspective is way different than it has ever been in their own life, and it's way different from anybody else in reality.
So does that form your philosophy in, I'll be a lawyer, I'll be this?
It forms your philosophy in everything, and how you
Did it?
Yeah, it still does. Because
today on What's It Like, we sit down with Robert Baldwin, General Counsel, Chief Compliance Officer, husband, father, and rock and roll singer. He's the frontman of the Surrogate Band, a Pink Floyd cover band. I've seen both, and I think their band is better, just my opinion. He spends his weeks running a national law firm and his weekends performing some of the most theatrical music ever written for the stage, including a song that is literally a trial set to music. Today is What's It Like to be a Trial Lawyer and a Rock and Roller? What's it like?
Well, this is going to fulfill the rest of my community service hours. So thank you.
The reason you're in front of me today, one of the reasons, is you are the frontman or the lead singer and guitar player for the Surrogate Band, which is, describe what the Surrogate Band is.
The Surrogate Band is a group of musicians. We for the last, it's been 12 years now, have been playing specifically Pink Floyd tribute shows.
What does that mean?
We put on full Pink Floyd tribute experiences.
What does that mean?
We will play albums from start to finish. Our first project that we did was The Wall. We did The Wall as our first project. It was only going to be that one project, and that was it. It wasn't supposed to be.
Let's put that up for our viewers.
Oh, yeah. Shazam? Yeah, so it was only supposed to be a limited project. It wasn't supposed to be a whole thing. We even had a little documentary that they did up on the YouTubes to talk about it. And so it was a lot of fun. We put it together. We had white boxes, a shit ton of white boxes. And throughout the show, we would have the character, me, Pink, would be singing the album, the entire album.
Who's Pink?
Pink is the tortured young rock star who, it's from the story The Wall is they had the movie, but the movie came from the album. And the album is much like albums of that time, which we don't really have anymore, where they were these rock anthems that told stories. You know, you'd sit down and
Who?
Right, yeah. You'd open up the album and you could look through them, but they would have a whole story. And you could start with a song that was telling the beginning of the story. You'd make it all the way
Probably
through.
started with Sgt. Pepper's, maybe? That's too small.
Yeah. I mean, but probably even earlier. But Pink Floyd always, I was drawn in particular to The Wall because of the story it told. You know, it was the struggling mentally artist because his father and his father's issues and problems, and this, you know, we're talking about during the World War II,
in England.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's Roger Waters telling this story of, you know, a lot of it is autobiographical about him and his father, and how he is building walls, or how he's building these walls around himself and just becoming numb. And in the end, you know, the walls get torn down and he's exposed before his peers.
That's the song called The Trial.
The Trial, that's the line.
You guys do the trial on stage?
Yeah.
You do the whole thing on stage?
We do. Yeah, we do the whole thing on stage. It's a whole show. We've got actors and dancers and lasers. And the first time we did the show, we built those cardboard boxes. We had throughout the show, the wall is being built. And so by the end of the show, there's a giant wall that's built on the stage. And it ends with the wall falling down in towards the audience, you know, and the boxes just fall and scatter everywhere.
And what do those boxes represent?
The wall, of Pink and walling himself in away from all of the outside forces and influences. And you see that through, you know, the songs and through the storytelling. He talks about his mom and the role she plays, and he talks about the wife.
That's Roger Waters.
That's Roger Waters, and the wife and the role she plays. And, you know, it's about his infidelity and his drug use. And so it's a very, very cerebral, but it's an emotionally tolling show as well.
For you or the audience?
Yeah, for me. I mean, it's really, a lot of it is a one-man show. For me, yeah.
Does the rest of the band?
The rest of the band is there, and they accept that.
You are the show.
Well, I mean, there's what it has to be. I mean, that's the story. You know, it's Pink out there who is telling his story. You know, and of course it's Pink Floyd, so the music has to be.
Here comes the question. You ready? How much of you is in Pink? Deranged, drug addict.
Yeah, it couldn't be farther from.
Yeah. Is that?
It's a complete act, but I love the chameleon of it because I love putting on those clothes. You know, that's that
mental clothes.
Yeah, that's fun. It's fun for me to slip into those. You know, it's kind of like how people, I don't know, feel great or good about whatever it is they get into. You know, when you're feeling that high you get from the sport that you enjoy or you play, or if you play an instrument, some people talk about how transcendent it is to do the harp or the violin, and then you see them, you close their eyes and they lose it, or you get that Stevie Wonder kind of feel into the music. You know, it's that same thing with me with the roles. I like slipping into the character
on stage. With the Pink Floyd cover band.
Yeah.
With this audience appreciating what you do. I've been in those audiences. It's great stuff. But do you ever get that same lose yourself feeling with the law?
Not anymore, but that's only because I don't really get the opportunity to use it in that way anymore.
Want the opportunity. Like you can seek out no more shows or more shows.
Or more shows.
You want more shows.
Yeah. But
less of what you and I go through, the nonsense of dragging ourselves through the horrible court system.
Yes. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's still, I enjoy it still.
So do I. Can't live without it.
Right. But I just don't need it to fill every crevice of my life, you know,
and
because there are a lot of other things out there. You know, there are a lot of other things. And I don't know, if you're not driven to do other things, you know, some people can fill up. Some people just like cheese on their pizza, and that's fine. You know, if that's all that you feel you need for, you know, to be satiated or to be satisfied, then just have the cheese.
Why did you not need just the cheese? Why was it Pink Floyd?
Well, my brother-in-law is in the band with us. He is a virtuoso lead guitar player who sounds, you've heard him. I mean, he sounds just like...
Just the guy that the guitar is in the air and he comes up around the guitar.
Yeah, well, that's because he plays, you know, 7 different guitars.
Yeah,
so he has some of them just set up where he has to go over and, you know.
Great
and he's ridiculously, I mean, good. But he and I used to do a 2-man acoustic show where we would go around to different just bars and things like that. And we did a 2-man acoustic show. And he and I played for 10 years like that. And we had a song book of a few hundred songs. So we could sit at a venue, and if you wanted us to play for 6 hours, we could sit there and just pull out 6 hours worth of music, the two of us just on 2 acoustic guitars. But if it was after 10 years of us doing that we said, boy, you know, it would be fun to get involved with a large group, you know, again, with a drummer and, you know, a full band. And, he and I already in our acoustic set played several Pink Floyd songs. And because I also did a lot with the theater at that point, my wife's involved with the theater. I was doing a lot with the theater. The two of those things seemed like, you know, the old Reese commercial, you got your chocolate and my peanut butter. Mm-hmm. It was like, hey, you know what? The Wall, the Pink Floyd would actually be a great stage production that we can do. And we could use, you know, we've got a stage manager at the theater. We've got a fly system. We've got all these things that we can incorporate and make it a music show, but we could also make it a play. So, I mean, you're bringing in the audience of people that enjoy seeing shows, but you're also bringing in an audience of people that want to see a tribute show or a rock band. And
more so than ever today.
Yeah.
It's really peaking.
Yeah, and it really is.
So you are general counsel of is it a national law firm? It would be.
Yeah.
We're based out of
Washington, D.C.
And your job as a compliance officer is to do what? Chief compliance officer.
Yeah, to guide a company in the right direction and to have them do things in the most risk-averse way that they possibly can, or completely avoid risk if that's possible, although that's not typically possible. You know, I mean, it's fairly boring pencil pushing kind of stuff, but
now it is.
Now, but you know, that's fine. I mean, my piss and vinegar days are in the rearview mirror at this point, and I'm okay with that. You know, I used to like all of the family law and criminal law and being in the court and being in front of a judge and making those arguments with opposing counsel. And I got that same little, you know, you'd get upset if things, you know, why am I trying to appease the, you know, that same kind of emotion, but it quickens you at the end of the day. And you almost like a drug, you know, where you want it again, you know, you want to chase that thrill.
So when you're on the stage, is that same feeling there? Before and during?
A little bit. I mean, a little bit of it crosses over, but the motivations are different. I mean, with the law, you always have something that you're trying to either protect or gain, or there's, some kind of a right you're trying to defend or assert, or money you're trying to get or hold on to, but the performance part of it, or the preparation, is the same. But when you're on stage and you have an audience that's purchased tickets with their money because they're expecting to be taken away and have this great time, and that money is, valuable to them, especially now, you have different motivations. You want to be able to use all that kind of the same preparation, but the performance, everything else is very different, again, because of the motivations. I don't have that same kind of, I don't get the irritation, like you were talking about, like I seconded with the, why am I trying to please these people? I've never thought about that with an audience, and even if it's been a more quiet audience where they're not as receptive, or you don't get the applause where you think you're going to get the applause, or you don't get the laugh where you think you're going to get the laugh.
Are you describing your acting or your singing?
Both. Because both of those are really the same. Performance like that, people are buying a ticket or people are coming. It's really the same, right? Yeah. I mean, the singing, the acting, it's the same thing. It's performance. You're putting on a show and you want to make it a good show.
Are you ever yourself when you're on stage?
Not usually. I'm not usually myself when I'm on stage, but that's only because that's not called for often. If I'm asked to, for instance, I was asked to host a pageant a month ago. Mm-hmm. And, I like hosting. I like, doing the front man.
What kind of pageant? What kind of hosting?
It was an LGBTQ in my county drag pageant. Okay. And they had me, they had a panel of judges, and then they had me as the host, the MC. Yeah. Yeah. So, and I enjoy that stuff. I mean, I do a little bit of that in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, but I like the MC hosting. And I'd say that's probably the closest to me being on stage is when I do the MC, the hosting stuff. And that's my favorite. Actually, when I do the Rocky Horror Picture Show, that is my favorite, most me and most off the cuff, because I interact with the audience and I have to work with what the audience gives me. I don't have any scripted material. Every time I do that show, I go up there with no script.
Oh.
None, ever.
So you're saying that's the real you?
Yes. Yeah, it's the most me of being on stage. Of me being on stage in many different facets where I'm on the stage. I have different reasons that I'm on the stage. But when I do something like that, the MC hosting, especially with like Rocky Horror, that is the most me on stage. And again, because it's just not scripted. It's me and I interact to what the audience gives me. It's kind of like when I just hosted that drag pageant, I asked the people in the audience, I said, who in the audience here has been here and done this? This is the 5th pageant we've done here in the county. Who here has been here before? Everybody that had been there before, you hear, woo, yeah, big loud woots and hands up in the air. And I was like, all right, well, who here is this is their first time? And literally every single one of them that was their first time, not a sound, but raised their hand. And so all of a sudden I'm like, wow. Did everybody else catch what just happened there? And it's just that interesting dynamic that the audience gives you. And you didn't expect that. You can't script that, but you got to work with it and make it a thing. And I love that real in the moment, but it's the most me. I think that's the most me.
Well, you really haven't told us what the me is.
Well,
what's the difference between the stage and you?
Well, if I'm on stage, it's usually to portray a character. Mm-hmm. And so I'm that character. And if you can see me, then I'm not doing a great job, right? All
right. So who's the me that they rarely see? How are you different from the stage presence?
If I do the Pink Floyd show, I'm most of the time I'm Pink, which is a troubled, drug-addled rock star, who's kind of out of his prime.
And does that take up space inside when you're an attorney, the attorney that you are?
No, if you're arguing, if you're presenting argument and you're trying to get a judge or a jury to believe what you're saying, there are those certain psychological tools that I think much like with you, I feel them innately. I don't feel like I have to turn them on with personality mirroring or kind of understanding by looking at a person or the way that they just are, their presence, their essence. And you can kind of gauge how you should interact with them to have a more favorable response from them. So there's a little bit of that portion in the law, but the rest of it is me, because I'm not putting on a character. I'm not trying to be a drug-addled rock star in front of a judge. I'm, trying to be a competent lawyer that's making a sound argument.
What is the real you, the stage presence or the attorney presence?
I mean, aren't we just, isn't that just pieces to the whole, right? I mean, aren't they, I don't know if you can't say this one is the real me and that one is the real me. It's, this is me, right? I mean,
Oh, you've avoided my question 3 times.
No,
we'll move on.
I'm an occupational hazard.
Describe your practice and role as an attorney with your company. Your compliance, do you ever go into court or do you have people that you send into battle?
Yeah, I mean, these days for a lot of stuff, like with doctors, so many things are specialized and you have people muscle that deals with certain categories of things. So, if it's prudent or reasonable to hire somebody to do something, then you do that. And so really the only kind of work that I do myself these days in court would be any complex issues that some of the lawyers in my firm would need some assistance with, or the pro bono work that I do on the side. Or
what kind of pro bono work?
I'll assist friends and family and referrals with estate planning issues, dog bites, solar swindling, various general stuff like that, on
top of the job you have?
Oh, yeah.
Is there one case, like I have 3 cases for each decade I've been an attorney that just always pop up in my brain. Are there any cases like that for you where you're just glad you're in them or they made a huge impression on you that you're involved in?
Well, yeah, actually, most of those were in my family law and dependency days with divorce and, moms trying to sell their babies for crack and stuff like that.
What does that mean?
It means exactly what it means. Moms.
What was your role?
I was the attorney for grandma trying to adopt the baby who was trying to be sold for crack. So grandma wanted to terminate her daughter's parental rights of the granddaughter and adopt the granddaughter because mom was way off the deep end and ended up trying to sell her baby for crack. So, but at the end of that one, it was long because the mom tried to put on the show and I'm going to do good. And the state always wants to give parents a chance to be with the child. They want to give them lots of chances. So we had to let the mom turn back into her leopard and show her spots, So I just told grandma, let's take our time, do what we're supposed to do. And the leopard will show her spots again. And the spots came right back. And so grandma was able to adopt. Parental rights got terminated.
And you always remember that. That's one of your favorites.
I mean, that's one of them. There were several, but they all are in that dependency family law realm. I
still get anxious arguing certain motions. If I never get rid of the piss and vinegar, as you say. I know I'm right. And so if anybody finds that something contrary, it drives me crazy. So I go hard charging. Completely unhealthy way to handle things.
And I want to say I don't not have the piss and vinegar because I think that I still get very passionate about an issue, or if I am
smarter
arguing
than me about it.
I don't go chasing it anymore. I used to chase it. Now I don't chase it. I don't need it. I understand what it does to my blood pressure.
Yes.
But I can't avoid it if I'm in it.
Yeah. So I still get that anxiousness and I go through, what if this happens? What if this happens? I'm going to lose. I got to win. I hate that guy. I got to beat him. I'm listening to you, who also is on stage, who acts, rock and roller, and an attorney. And there's no anxiousness before you go on stage, or either in court or on stage for real in front of 3,500 people?
Yeah, I mean, there's some anxiousness, but I think it's more of excitement and hoping things all go well and everybody has a good time. But it's not the same as what you described when you asked the question, or what most people describe when you feel the pit in your stomach or the butterflies or the, a lot of people get red and flush in their face and then they can't talk and, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I never get that, sweaty palms, those kinds of things. I've never, but I get anxious, I'm not dead inside.
So when did you first pick up a guitar and decide you want to play?
When I was in my freshman year in high school, because I, at that point, was in northeastern Ohio, right next to Amish country. And we moved from Miami, Florida to just outside of Amish country in northeastern Ohio. So that was
a little bit different?
Not much.
So you went from the salsa to Sanka.
Yeah, that's my novel, actually. That's what it's called. I went literally from being a minority in my school to going to a high school that had 2 minorities in our entire graduating class. So yeah, it was a bit of a culture shock. I started to make friends with musicians, and we all enjoyed different instruments. I had one friend who liked to play the guitar. I had one friend who liked to play the bass guitar, one friend who liked to play the drums. And it was all just, wow, this is kismet, I like to sing. So let's get together and try to do some rock songs. We were playing what was popular in like the late 80s, early 90s. Grunge rock was just starting to, really get into, people Nirvana? Were just starting to pick up. Yeah, Nirvana was just starting to come on the scene before they were real, big and popular, And so we were playing that kind of music. And because I moved from Miami to now on farm property, I mean, literally, we lived on 20 acres with a big old barn in the back. And, it was a Norman Rockwell painting. And we had a barn there where we set up where we would rehearse. We had a stage because my parents would throw a hoedown for, I don't know, my dad's Rotary or Key Club or Lions Club or whatever he was doing at the time. They'd have a square dance, a barn dance. And so the community that they were, whatever it was, the Key Club or the Rotary, built a giant stage inside of the barn there for the square dances they did. So we used that as our rehearsal space and put up our stuff on there and felt we had a stage. Look how cool we are. But when my friends left all of their equipment there, I would, this is before the internet. So I lived out on old farm property after coming from Miami. So I would spend all my time out there messing around with the drums and with the bass guitar and with the guitar. I would record songs on the radio on a tape deck like most other people, play record. And you'd always have that on the WNBC at the beginning of each song that you listen to, because they talk them in. And that's how I'd sit there and learn songs. I'd learn by sitting there,
So you didn't take formal training?
No, I didn't take any lessons.
You just picked up somebody else's guitar and started listening to tape songs?
Yeah, I mean, if this was back when YouTube was a thing, that would have been great. I mean, right now, I'd probably, I'd be incredibly talented. But yeah, no, it was just back when, you were listening to stuff on the radio and noodling.
And that's how you learned to play guitar.
Yeah, I had nothing but time in an old barn, and I lived 15 miles from anything. And I wasn't a great driver when I first got my license, so I immediately lost it. Yeah, I was a careless driver kid, and I immediately lost my license for like a year. I had to suspend it. So I live out in the middle of nowhere. I can't drive. I don't have anywhere, unless I have somebody coming and picking me up. So yeah, I'd go out there and play the drums, play the guitar. So did you
eventually buy your own guitar?
Yeah, I actually got one as a gift. Well, my friend who I said, one of the friends who played the guitar in the group I was in, he got a very nice guitar for himself, and he ended up giving me his old guitar. And that was the guitar I played and learned how to play and played for years.
Mm-hmm.
And then in my little town there, I started going out to open mic coffee house nights. It was right when they started to open up coffee shops, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
Friends just came out on television as a show. And so coffee shops were popping up everywhere. And so I took my guitar and I'd go to these new coffee shops that were popping up all over the place and say, hey, can I, you know, they'd be like, yeah, sure. Go ahead. Set up right over there. And they just let me sit there and play all night and set out a tip thingy and people would throw, you know, tips in. But I was just out there wanting to play in front of people. But that would have been 19, 20.
I don't know if this is true, but most people are too scared to do something like that. Did you just not know any better?
I just don't have that thing. Like I
Yeah.
said, I don't have that. I've never had a problem getting up on a stage and talking to a crowd of people. I don't get that. You know, I just don't. I've never. It's not something I had to learn, or it's just I've never had that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is good. I'm glad.
So then you ended up in law school. What made you go to law school?
Well, in college, I had originally slated myself to be pre-med for psychiatry. And then I realized that there was a lot of math involved and I would have to deal with cadavers and stuff like that in medical school. And those realizations made me say, okay, I don't want to do that. What does not require a lot of math?
And dead people.
And no dead people or blood or really any kind of secretion. So, you know, I switched my major to English literature and I loved it. And it was pre-law and English literature, you know, went together and I could replace math with logic, which was beautiful. That was great. So, I loved reading and I devoured books. And that's why I loved all the literature courses. And I took as many as I could. You know, I didn't need to take as many classes as I did, but I really found that I enjoy it. Where very surprising because high school, I was barely there and I barely graduated. I just was not, I checked out.
Same.
Yeah. Didn't care for it. Not challenging. Didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
So I didn't go.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally missed in my 4 years of high school, my total absences across all 4 years had me missing a full year of school.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a lot. My parents had to argue and fight with the school to get me to graduate and it was a mess.
Mm-hmm.
But then I enrolled at Kent State University for college.
So you went to law school.
Yeah, then I with you know the big stark difference from high school to college, where I actually really found that I enjoyed college and I enjoyed the literature. Which where'd that come from? And so that naturally led itself in, since I had the pre-law in there as well. I had a few teachers, professors, tell me in college, you know, they're like, you have strong advocacy and oration skills. I took a few oration classes in college, and you should really consider law school. There's, you know, a lot of reading. There's a lot. I was like, all right, well, I liked academia. This is a nice way for me to be able to continue academia, and perhaps I'll enjoy this just as much. And so I enrolled in law school, and I did. I had a really good time. I enjoyed it a bunch, which is not something typical for lawyers to say. Most lawyers, you know, say, yeah, right, exactly. Get me the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Feet don't fail me now.
What was your first job out of law school?
I had to work for free because I couldn't find a job in Florida, here in Florida. I wasn't able to find a job. I passed the bar. Nobody wanted to hire a lawyer right out of law school. I just, you know, couldn't find a job. So I reached out to this attorney in Orlando who referred to me as somebody who could potentially use some help. So I reached out to him, just a cold email, and asked him if he would like any help. And I wouldn't take a salary. I wouldn't take any money, you know, but I would like the experience, and I would like to be introduced to the judges, and I would like to be introduced to the local bar and all that kind of stuff, because he was heavily involved in downtown Orange County, Orlando there. And so he did. He took me on. He did criminal defense work. I did a lot of his schlepping, did his briefs for him and filed his motions and ran to the courthouse and filed things and interviewed his clients and so I did a lot of just the grunt work for him. And then he took me and introduced me to judges, and I went to hearings and got to meet a lot of the other attorneys. And it was only 2 months, not even, that had me then meet the attorney who asked me to come be his new partner, because he was about to lose his partner at his firm, and it was a paying gig.
Yeah.
So about a month and a half, almost 2 months of putting myself out there working for free, but then that paid dividends because that got me my first paying job as an attorney.
So your first real job was after hitting the streets and offering your services for free, and now you're offered a sort of a pseudo partnership.
Well, yeah, because he had his partner leaving. She was leaving and going back to the state's attorney's office. He's retired now, but he was the last true general practice lawyer, in rural Florida, where he kind of did anything you need because you lived close and people knew him.
But that improved your skill base.
Well, yeah, because I got thrown in and I immediately started doing dependency work, family law work, estate planning, probate, criminal, civil litigation. I was doing real estate closings and title work.
Most people that go to law school, and it's a big thing, and they want to become a lawyer, then they become a lawyer. That is the end all. But I don't get that from you. That's just, I'll be a lawyer. I'll be this. I'll be this. Like, being a lawyer is everything. It's a hard job to get to. Yet you also are this rock and roll singer, actor. I'm not saying you don't take it as seriously, but it isn't a big a deal as some people look at being a lawyer. Is that an unfair assessment?
No. Well, maybe.
You don't have to be nice.
Yeah, maybe. Because I don't know that,
I thought it was everything to become an attorney.
You did?
I wouldn't take time then to see how this band goes, or I think I want to be an actor. I'd be like, my God, they let me be a lawyer. I'm going to hold. In fact, that's exactly, every day I think they're going to take it away from me. I'm always worrying that it's going to be taken away. You seem to be more casual about it.
There's just, we're here for such a very finite amount of years.
Yeah, but is that the reason why you're so
Well,
casual?
yeah, there's so much to do. There's so much to do and so much to experience, so many things out there. And it never becomes more stark than, I think, all of the probate and estate planning kind of work I did, which is always older people, senior citizens that are hospice, about to die. I had a lot of those clients that would tell you.
The bed is,
sitting right next to the bed, doing last changes to the will, last changes to different documents right there.
Did you ask?
What?
Was it worth it? Any regrets?
Oh yeah. I would. Those are the best people to have conversations with, because their perspective is way different than it has ever been in their own life. And it's way different from anybody else in reality at that point.
So does that form your philosophy in, I'll be a lawyer, I'll be this?
It forms your philosophy in everything. And how you,
Did it?
Yeah, it still does. Because any of those people that you talk to that are in that special, perspective of their life or end of life, never ever talk about things that they regret doing. They only talk about the things they didn't do, and that's always the same story over and over. So it just doesn't make sense to.
But you're saying you're also, your philosophy is being formed by talking with people that are dying who said, I really regret not doing some things. And there's a fearlessness about that. You can listen to them and go, shit, I'm going to do everything I possibly can. I'm not going to have any regrets. Mm-hmm. But what came first? You talked about, we both kind of have this gene where we just don't understand why people don't like talking in public. Right. Was that always with you, or did that practice of law, talking with people on hospice, shape that lack of fear?
No, I think that's always been with me. And I think I don't know whether that's a nature-nurture thing.
What's an example of where you sat with somebody that said, I wish I'd done blah, blah, blah. I wish I'd gone with that man, or I wish I'd made that business deal, where you said, I'm going to take a chance on something.
well, almost every major decision I've made in my life has been, I think I'm going to take a chance on something.
Well, yeah, I'm the same way. But with that in your thinking, was there ever a time where you maybe even looked at the face of a lady that said, if only I had the balls to do blah, 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 and you went for it?
Yeah. I mean, again, several times. I mean, there's one example was when I was early 20s, I was reading a book that really was making New Orleans, and specifically the Café du Monde, the 24-hour coffee shop that's been there forever, sound like just absolute magic. And so I got in my car and I drove there.
From where?
Ohio.
You drove from Ohio
to New Orleans
just to go to that cafe?
Yeah.
And before you did that, after reading that book and putting it down, what did you say to yourself before you did that?
I really just kind of, it was, you know, just a decision. Like I'm doing this.
Where were you, in high school or college?
Just finished high school. So
did you take the book with you?
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember.
But you took something with you that made you go to that. And what was it about that cafe that you wanted to experience?
It was the writing, the way that author, and you know, it was an Anne Rice novel. It was one of the vampire stories back when those first came out. You remember the Anne Rice series?
Interview with a Vampire.
Vampire series. And she's a really good writer. Still to this day, I'll say she was a really good writer. I loved her writing, and the way she described New Orleans, and it just made it like, I don't know, like I was 6 years old and somebody's telling me about Disney World for the first time. It was one of those, ooh, it sounds other earthly, or
from decision.
And I can drive there.
Well, you got your license back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So from the decision where you close the book and go, I'm going, how long time passed?
No, it was pretty immediate.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You fill your tank up and go?
Yeah.
Did you check a map?
Yeah. I always had in my glove box.
What about who were you going to stay with?
Oh, I didn't.
You just said, I'm just going to go.
Yeah.
You did not put any real thought into it.
No. And the only thing I did, I mean, I didn't even really sleep. I pulled over and did a couple of rest stop recharges, but.
Did you discover why you were going there once you were there?
It's a wanderlust, because I get that same kind of excitement when I travel and do or go to different or exotic places.
So do you not organize where you're going?
I do now. I didn't used to.
Because you got a kid.
Yeah, things change.
But it's spontaneity is just a beautiful
I love it.
fruit.
I love it. Yeah.
And you just spontaneously. And by then, I imagine your parents have, here he goes again.
Yeah, yes.
They weren't going to talk you out of it.
Correct.
And so, what kind of car?
It was a 1987 Thunderbird, two-door Thunderbird coupe.
And it was going to make you assured it was going to make it, or you're going to die trying?
I didn't even think about it.
You wanted to go, something drove you to go that much.
Yeah. I mean, really, it's just, again, the wanderlust, it's just, it's there. It sounds great. I can drive there. Why am I not doing this? And, I've got no responsibilities. I'm a kid. How
long did you stay there?
It was pretty immediate. I just went there, checked out the general area around the Café du Monde, sat down, actually ordered a cafe au lait and a plate of beignets.
Yes.
And then I went home.
Did you read in the?
No.
You just wanted to
there was a guy playing a saxophone sitting right outside playing, just old,
everything you'd expect.
Awesome. Everything. It was like somebody. It was like Disney World. It was like it was designed for this experience. There was even a couple of kids standing on the street across doing, bottle cap on the bottom of their shoe dances.
Oh,
it was crazy. So I was soaking all that in.
You mean, did you arrive on the same day that you left?
Yeah.
When did you know you were done?
I don't know. I sat there again, I wasn't with anybody, it's one of my wife's favorite stories. But I sat there, I had my beignets, I had my coffee. I think I maybe had 2 coffees. Mm-hmm. And then I moseyed on out, walked just around that little square right there. There's the Jackson Cathedral right in front of it. And so I walked right there and then got in my car and
What street is on Bourbon Street?
No, it's Cafe Du Monde is right there on the Mississippi River. The river is right behind it. It's right there, and then the church, that big church with the statue in front of it.
How long does it take to drive from Ohio to New Orleans?
That was what, like 15 hours?
And did you see parts of how the author wrote the book? Did you see parts of that in?
Oh, yeah.
How well she
The
done?
biggest thing was the way she described the smell of jasmine. And I never smell, I mean, that's not a northern scent, and so I wasn't familiar with what that smelled like when she's describing, the jasmine so thick or whatever. And that's the one thing that putting those two together was a very weird experience, because I did, when I was there, got that big blast of jasmine, because there's a bunch of it right in that square.
Inside the cafe or?
Oh, outside. When I was walking, there's a bunch of it in front of that church. Growing jasmine.
Yeah.
And right there, I was realizing that's the description that I was reading, that smell. And I wasn't as familiar with that smell. And I'm like, that's what they're talking about. So that's one thing that has always stuck with me, because now every time, now I've got a bunch of jasmine planted out in my backyard. But it's always very like that memory for me.
Did you ever figure out why you did it?
I don't know that there was a reason. I think that's just that compulsion in me to, if I want to go somewhere, or if I feel like something is compelling me to come to it or to do it, I do it.
Do you ever have to fight that back? Meaning it's not a smart move, even though the wonder, lust, or drive is there?
No, because it's not like I ever have the drive to jump out of a plane or off of a bridge, or, I don't have any of those things where I need to say, okay, now wait a second. Mm-hmm. The risk isn't great, or any of the things I want to do are all things that you really shouldn't regret, or why would I regret them? Mm-hmm. So no, I don't really see myself ever having to pull back. I'm still a responsible person. I'm not compulsive. I'm not,
You run a major law practice out of Washington, chief compliance officer.
Well, yeah, that's fairly boring, right?
Is that purposeful?
Nowadays, yeah, because I can do good work, but on a much kinder schedule.
So you had this trajectory of being a certain kind of attorney, and you had you had a number of attorney jobs.
Yeah.
Let me describe something to you, and I want you to tell me if it is law or Pink Floyd.
Do I have a buzzer?
Ready?
Yeah.
This thing exhibits alienation, conformity, us against them, and a system grinding people down.
Oh.
Does that describe Pink Floyd, The Wall, or law?
Yes.
Yes. The answer is yes. Actually, it's Pink Floyd and the whole pink.
Well, thing. Yeah, but when you put it that way, you obviously did that for a reason. I could argue both.
Is it an accident? It isn't an accident that you chose Pink Floyd as your tribute band, as your cover band.
No.
Because that's an enormous amount of work. How much money do you think you guys have invested in that show?
No. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Do you do one show a night, two, or a couple of days? What do you?
We'll usually do a weekend. We usually do either a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sometimes Thursday, Friday, Saturday, matinee, Sunday. We stopped doing the matinees just because we don't want to have to get up.
It's not for the money.
No. No, and the band makes money, but we put it all back into the band. We invest in our lasers and our equipment,
When I went and stood in lines for beer or candy or whatever, and I could hear the discussions. I don't know if anybody was new. I was maybe one of the few people that hadn't seen the band.
We have a lot of
big following.
Yeah, there were a lot of people, which is really nice. But that's what makes us keep coming back and doing it.
They got to be demanding more than just the 3 shows you do a year.
They do.
Yeah?
They do. Yeah.
What stops you from doing that?
Because we just have so much other crap. Again, everybody else is in the band. most all of them are married with children and have full-time
Isn't there reason
careers.
to be on the road?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So, I mean, it's hard to put the logistics together to do a show. The getting together once a week is not so difficult. I mean, it's fairly therapeutic, and we have the music studio all set up. So we just come in, plug in and go.
That's like when you first learned how to play the guitar in that barn.
Yeah.
You've been doing that
The whole life now. Yeah.
Would that be fair to describe your legal life too? Because you and I talk about how you've set up this great administrative, it was hard work to set up. Now your job is proactive, meaning you're trying to see down the road what problems are going to arise.
Yeah.
But you've already got the way to fix them before they arise. Your job is, as a compliance officer, is to see 2 steps ahead of the next problem.
Yeah. Chess.
Maybe that's your life and your choices. You like to just have things there where you can just step right into them and not have to worry about, well, I mean, that wanderlust is that spontaneity has kind of disappeared. Now everything is right there.
See, this is why I was saying it's your way, because these are like the conversations that we have when we're on the telephone.
Uh-huh.
And you turn into Dr. Ruth all of a sudden, except we're not talking about sex.
Sometimes.
A little bit. And I go, hey, you know what? That's pretty insightful. But that's, that's probably nail on the head. Yeah.
Maybe. What are the similarities between an audience of 1, a judge, an audience of 6 or 12, a jury, or 3,500 people coming to see you? Are there any similarities that you see in those audiences?
Similarities in the
Either
audience.
in yourself or in the audience.
Yeah, in the audience themselves, there are no similarities. I mean, those are very different audiences.
You're not being judged?
Yeah, but they're very different audiences.
In the way they
you
judge?
may still be judged, but yes, they're very different audiences. I mean, the one thing that is consistent, or where there is a similarity, is the confidence. That, I mean, you have to have, if you're standing in front of a judge, a jury, or an audience, you have to have confidence. Never let them see you sweat. And that's really across the board there. The only thing that is similar. The audience, I've said, there's different motivations. It's a different perspective. The performance, though, has to be the same in terms of selling yourself and being confident in what you're selling and believing in what you're saying. The audience does not want to see you weak or quiver and that's the same whether it's a judge or a jury or an audience that just paid however much they paid for a ticket to see you sing songs. They want to see a confident frontman. And that's, that a lot of that, being a good lawyer or being effective litigator, is that confidence. As long as you believe in what you're saying, and as long as you are able to say it unequivocally and have that aura of strength, that goes a long way. And I mean, people aren't really cognizant of it when it's happening and how long of a way that goes. But the confidence is all of it.
Back to your description of Pink, I've always had this theory that the most successful comedians are the most effed up in the head. Have the most problems, family life, upbringing. They are our most successful comedians, and they do end up flaming out.
Yeah.
So as a confident frontman, I tried so many cases and was just a complete phony, but I wanted to win and beat this person. And I don't like who I was. I'd come home after a trial and just stay on the couch because I hated myself to win. But what I started to notice is that I couldn't leave that person in the courtroom. I've still spent years trying to get rid of that person. There's points where I did not know myself anymore. Do you have trouble turning it off when you come home?
No.
Instantly?
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Not from the stage, not?
Mm-mm.
This is who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, really.
That's interesting you're able to do that.
It's always been like a coat or a hat for me.
Yeah.
And it's on and it's off. No, I mean,
Is this something you say to yourself? Like I was watching a couple of your videos and you're sort of behind, it's not a wall waiting to come out. And you seem to kind of steady yourself and then you come right out, you rush out. Is there something you say to yourself when you come out?
It depends on how I am supposed to be when I come out. Most of the time, if I'm coming out onto the stage, I want to immediately let you feel that energy. You know, you want to feel, there's energy. You don't want to just come shuffling out on the stage. So I will try to get myself in that zone before I'm walking out on the stage. And I don't necessarily tell myself anything in particular. It's more of a kind of like a transcendental meditation thing where it's more of a mantra or a sound, that's just like a jungle rhythm in your head or a chanting that just, now you're out there, kind of like ready to shoot out of the cannon. But I don't have any words or specific thoughts that I bring with me.
And you don't take it with you when you leave the stage?
No.
Wow. Is that the case when you're practicing law or trying a case?
No.
Hey, you make me look like okay, now we're talking. So in law, you keep going. You aren't able to turn it off.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the times, again, because like we were talking earlier, I don't get irritated and I don't get agitated with the entertainment portion of performance. But the lawyering and the litigating and the advocacy can make me very irritated. And so that's hard to treat as a coat or a hat.
That any lawyer will tell, any litigator will tell you that.
Yeah.
There's something that drives you and you take on, any good lawyer takes on the feelings and the purposefulness, the client's case, right?
Yeah.
I always say this, it's true. I sometimes take 100 cases to bed with me. And I'll wake up working them out.
I can see that. Yep.
I woke up at 3:00 to work on a case a couple of nights ago. I opened up my computer and I realized the case didn't exist. I'm looking for this case. It didn't exist. I was convinced that I missed a deadline or I've got a trial coming. It was a trial coming up. I go, oh my God, what date is that?
Nope, nothing.
It's horrible. It's a horrible.
Yeah. See, you don't get that with the performance piece of it. Like, there's nothing about that makes you, or if you, this, or if you've put the work in, you and I both, as lawyers, prepare. I don't want to go into a hearing and go, I don't really know what's going on. You want to know the stuff. But if you go into a hearing or a trial and you know your stuff and you know your argument is dead on because you understand the argument and you have a judge that goes, nah. You can't, that's not a switch. That's not something you can turn off. That's something I can get into my car and then beat the hell out of my steering wheel because why are you such an idiot?
Yes. Not me, the judge.
Right. Yes. Correct.
Has a law client ever seen you on stage and then you've met them the next time and they've treated you differently?
Well, yes, many times. As well as judges and magistrates.
Really?
Yeah. I had one family law case that I had with a magistrate that I saw pretty regularly in my local court. And we were going in for it was child support or alimony hearing in front of the magistrate. And my wife and I had just been in Greece. And this was long enough ago that I was convincingly able to play Danny Zuko in Greece.
Okay.
So my wife was Sandy and I was Danny. And I go into that magistrate hearing. This is the weekend after our final performance. And the magistrate...
Playing Greece.
Yeah. And the magistrate, we're sitting at our plaintiff defendant tables, or it's family law. So it's petitioner respondent tables. And the magistrate, as I'm walking in, goes, "Go Grease, lie down there, burn down the courtroom."
Well, that's not what I want to know. I want to know, did you win?
Yeah, I did. And, but that gave me a lot of confidence when I sat down in that hearing, because when we started the hearing with, him singing, and I said, you saw us. He said, I'll tell you what, counsel, my wife and I had the best time. And we didn't know that you did that. And so we sat there and did our little kibitz there for like 5 minutes.
He made it clear that he did not know that you were in that show before he went.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'd seen him
several
times before. I'd been in front of him several times before. And it's just been business as usual. Counsel, proceed with your argument. Okay, I've heard both sides. I tell you, business, strictly business.
You tore down the wall.
And that's what it was. I tore down the wall. He said, now he's looking over his glass. He's got a big counsel. Oh, go grease lightning. He's talking to his bailiff. We saw him this weekend, his wife. It was great. It was great. And opposing counsel, I'm just like, how do you like this, buddy?
He's back up his bag. Okay, I'm going to lose this one. How about opposing counsel, the bad guy? Have they ever gone to your show? Either you've noticed them or the next time you saw them.
That I don't know about, but that's probably just because I don't know a lot of bad guy counsels locally. Because in my local practice, the bar is so collegiate and everybody's so congenial with each other. Right. So even if you're going toe to toe in a family law case or a criminal or whatever, you're still buddies and you're still friends. The only bad guy lawyers that I've ever come across are the ones that don't live anywhere near me. So I would never, see them anywhere. Or if I did,
they're in your head right now.
Yeah, they're in my head right now. Yeah, there's several of them right now that are. See, I wish I could just.
Okay, if you had to give up one tomorrow, law or music, which one would you feel more like losing a part of yourself?
Music.
So you prefer music over law?
I think that I would feel like I was losing more a part of myself. Whether or not I prefer it, I guess that probably infers that that's the case, but I don't know for sure.
They're labors of love.
Labors of love, exactly.
It's a very fortunate life we're living.
Well, yeah.
And maybe you did adopt what those hospice patients told you. Take a bite. Go for it.
I think that's absolutely quite possible, yeah.
Rob Baldwin, I don't even think I said your name at the beginning of this.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming in.
Hey, Brian. Always. This is a pleasure. Thank you. And do you not see that that's your same process?
Yeah. Well, no.
I mean, that's why it's fun to drive out here and agree to do this, because you have that way of eliciting information.
You got to stop doing that.
Well, no, it's a magic trick. You have a way of eliciting information, and you elicit information in a unique way.
It's like when I do a deposition, something kicks in, and I don't like to be prepared, but I like to be prepared. Like you had. One of the questions I gave you was about prepping for this. You can't discount preparation. However, sometimes stuff comes up. And that's the secret of a good attorney. From the hip, with the skills of handling, you didn't expect something to come up. And not that we're going to be doing that here, but I try to do some prep. And she says, no, you've got to talk to them like it's just a discussion. She says, that's the good of you, is that you can just sit someone down and in 5 minutes you're trying to solve their problems and all this shit. And you've got a marketing program that they really needed to get into. And so we don't like going into battle not prepared.
Right. Yeah. Like you always say, you want to know the stuff better than the other guy.
Yeah.
I mean, but you have that way of eliciting.
All right, stop that.
No, I can't.
Don't be fearful of me.
Why? Why do I need to not be fearful of you? And why would I be fearful?
I'm trying to get views here.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, this is great because it's being in the depot chair, but I'm not trying to guard my money or my assets.
Dude, you're not in the depot chair.
No.
I'm providing entertainment. This is a unique thing.
Yaka yaka.
No, seriously.
I always feel more comfortable up on a stage with a lot of eyes on me than I do in the crowd with one-on-one. I don't feel comfortable in the group. I feel much more comfortable on the stage away from the group.
But you put up a wall.
Well, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Well, yeah. But I mean,
how do you tear down the wall without a trial?
There is that fourth wall. I mean, anytime you're on the stage, you know, you have to. It's a performance. People are. If anybody could do it, then you know it wouldn't really be that entertaining, right? I mean, if everybody acted that way, or if everybody had a certain persona, most people or the majority of people clam up or have problems being on a stage or having a spotlight put on them or have somebody scrutinize what they're wearing, how their hair looks, what they're, you know, all the little
I was
things.
at a dinner and the lady said, I did this. I go, my God, that's great. You should go to law school, because she's young. She goes, yeah, I would, but I can't stand public speaking.
Yeah.
And I can't stand not public speaking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You get it. You get it. I mean, you're great in front of a group. I mean, you turn that switch on, you know? I mean,
when I'm ready for trial, I've yelled at a court before. He was just fumbling around and talking. I go, can we get started? And I forgot that he's the judge.
Right.
You know, and then I probably said to you, then the jury goes out to make this decision on this great thing. I couldn't wait to start. I'm like, I hate this. I'm never going to do this again. Why do I subject myself to the decision making of that panel? Yeah. So I start off loving it. And at the end, I'm like, oh, it's just but I can't not have it. I love it.
I know.
And I hate it. Do you still throw up before?
No,
not throw up, but is there still?
Yeah, I never really got that too bad.
Why?
I don't know.
Oh, because of the stage.
Yeah. All the stage stuff.
These are some of the questions we're going to be asking today.